This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 17 of the 22 Dropouts. Well, there's only 3 of us on tonight, actually. The other 19 have booked off somewhere else. Although we do have a couple of special surprises for you later on. But first of all, it's time to welcome all the way from the States. It's the leader of the gang. It's your friend, and it's mine. Here he is. It's Phil.
I have no idea what that is.
So it is the leader of the gang. It's Phil.
Hi, guys.
Phil, how's your week been, mate?
Pretty well. I mean, it's a COVID week, right? So it's almost like Groundhog Day after hour. But
it's sort of turning into podcast week as well, isn't it, now? Because we've done loads recently. You've done even more.
This is kind of now the new ritual. But, having said that, it's okay to keep talking and focusing on sport and rugby and see where we go. And I think that's important. People got to just keep getting engaged somehow. Some people are working and posting their fitness programs, which is great. Some are talking about, administrative roles and how they're going to work through that stuff. I had probably 6 rugby meetings this past weekend, including grants and stuff like that. So we are continuing to do our thing. We just don't have any real practical on the pitch environment right now. However, there is rugby happening in the United States.
Woo!
Hooray.
Can I get an amen for that one?
Amen,
brother.
Hallelujah, right? So like this past weekend in Alaska, they had a couple of matches up at the rugby grounds. World famous, incredible location. Highly recommend it for people to get an opportunity to go up there and participate in any kind of a rugby foray at that location. They're great hosts. They have accommodations on site. The field is immaculate. Is, we're getting there.
We have a couple of immaculate pitches in this country. They're called Ashbourne and Buxton.
Christ, don't get me started.
You've been there, you've never seen a good pitch.
Oh, God.
It's a great story, and I think there's a YouTube video out there about 20 minutes long about how it got created and the impetus behind it and that kind of stuff. And then there is a UK tie to it, so I'm going to encourage your viewers and listeners to go in and look it up, because there is a UK tie to it.
It is interesting, because I know we spoke earlier in the day and you were a bit worried about the weather because there was a chance of a shower today.
140 kilometers north of us.
It's a chance. It's a worrying time for you.
Do you know what, right?
There is a chance. We have
finished work, I just leave, and it starts absolutely slatting it down. And I mean...
that's raining for you, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay.
The heavens opened and I was absolutely drenched. Ran from the shop to the bus station. It's not too far. Get to the bus station. My bus is there, and then I go, oh shit! I've left my mask in the shop.
Because of course you can't get on the bus without one.
Can't get on the bus without a mask. So I went back to the shop. I was like, I am not fucking doing that again. I'll get a taxi.
So what you're saying is it rained so hard it would mess up my hair?
Yes.
Well, I was just about to say, actually, Chris doesn't need it because he's got an umbrella built onto his head. It's absolutely bright.
It's gorgeous now. You can see the glare on. You see the glare.
Yeah, there's not a cloud in the sky now, mate. He's doing it again. Look at that.
Oh, piss off.
There's a cloud somewhere out there, and that's our chance
Where?
That's our
We
chance of
just
rain.
need to look a bit more closely. No, missed it.
Damn,
Actually-
what a shame.
We had a cloud this morning. A press release went out.
No,
Yep.
not a
yep.
cloud. Oh, God.
Do you know what, mate? Do you know
That
what?
was
You
the
could
chance.
be English. Phil, you really, I know you're Canadian, which makes you half English anyway. And if you're American, hang on, how does this work? If you're half Canadian and half American, does that make you full English, like the breakfast?
Whee!
Hey, ba-dum-ts.
Ba-dum-ts.
Anyway,
My-
Phil
my-
talks about the weather so much he could be English.
Well, it's 46 degrees here today, sunny, and probably 5 kilometers of breeze. So what else have I got to do? It's status operation.
And you know what? I actually sent him a message saying, I hope you're okay because of this hurricane or typhoon.
I said, which one? You're talking about the one that's 1,000 kilometers away, or the one that's kilometers away?
Yeah. Yeah, take your pick, really, because not all of them are going to
Oh,
affect
dear.
you. Anyway,
The one that's just going by Hawaii, or the one that's now in Mexico?
probably the one that was in Mexico, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking of Hawaii, how far down the line are we with signing the agreements for the MLR?
So I actually had a conversation with somebody who's somewhat in the know. They're not one of the owners, but they were talking about it's still going forward. There hasn't been there's no official MLR franchise yet. They're still having that discussion. There's a lot that's got to go into it. Obviously, the travel, the insurance components, the liabilities, et cetera. And with I got a train going by. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Not another one. We'll be here for 3 days
An American
now.
train.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of rubber dog shit going up to the toy shops there, isn't there?
Yeah. Once the engines go by, it's not so bad. They're each like 3,500 or 3,800 horsepower engines. But the final thing on the MLR, as far as I'm aware of, is that they're still moving forward with this plan. With this COVID travel restrictions, as an example, if it does continue on into the fall and possibly the winter in the United States, Hawaii is one of those places where you have, upon arrival, 14 days of quarantine. Hawaii is not a bad place to quarantine for 14 days.
I'm not complaining.
Right. The problem is you can't leave your room.
Here's Chris. Everybody knows Chris. Chris, say hi because you've already said hi. Yeah, all right. And I've got no special music for you anyway. But I have got a guest waiting in the wings who is going to surprise our special guest. Not that this guy isn't special. So I'd like you to give a really big 22 dropout welcome to Mr. Richard Chuckle.
There he is.
Finally.
There he is.
Finally.
With his dirty watching behind him.
He's real. He's real.
You don't want to see that, do you?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
Mate, have you seen
just
it? You
did
know
a
it's
really
not a
good-
professional thing.
Are we looking
Yeah,
at
we just did a really good intro, and then all of a sudden we're waiting for you, and you message, "Shall I join now?" And you've disappeared. So wait until you see this on the show, because you're going to look like a right idiot. I was
Are you
going to
gonna
say
cut
something
that?
else, but that's the one word we don't. Yeah, I will. So you've just popped up, and we're all just going to clap now.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to see you, Richard. Now, what you may not know, Chris does, obviously, what you may not know is that Richard is my brother-in-law, and he's married to my wife's sister. But
He's married to your wife?
yes, it's a small town.
It is leaked, to be fair. We don't ask questions.
You Brits?
It's a bit like Alabama, mate. Anyway, where were we? So, Richard, you've joined us in the middle of the news. I don't suppose you've got any rugby news you'd like to share with us tonight?
No.
I didn't think
wish
so.
I could talk. Wish I could play rugby, but no.
Tell me, come on, let's make it the Richard Chetley show. Have you played rugby in the past?
Yeah, so I played like school years, early school years for a club, but mainly school years. Switched to league at back end of school years, and then played at uni, and then dropped off since. So
you played for Kiel Uni.
yeah.
What years were you at Kiel?
Yeah, 2000, 2003.
Oh, just before I started refereeing.
Hey.
I could just
It was
imagine
a
that
good
if it
time
came
to
out
start.
tonight that I'd sent you off.
Wait a second. Mike, did you say you started refereeing?
Well, allegedly. They keep moving me on so that I don't disappoint too many people in one league.
Uh-huh.
That's the way it works. But yeah. Anyway,
It only
Chris,
takes a season.
Chris, you've got a bit of news. You've got something really special, haven't you? Just tell us the headline.
It is, hang on. It's 4 words. I had to think then. Warren Gatland is shit.
You've
There
just
you
put 5 fingers up. Are you sure you're not from Cheddar?
No, I can't do that. I can't hang on. Warren Gatland is shit. There you go.
Okay, now you've just upset everybody in Waikato.
Let me explain.
A lot of people in Wales. Do explain.
A fair few people in High Wycombe as well. Basically, having gone from 11 fabulous years at Wales, a successful Lions tour. He's moved to the Chiefs, and he's had 6 games, and he's got no wins. This is after World Rugby claimed him as the best coach in the world. In the first game back, his son kicked the winning drop goal against him.
He should have signed him, you see. He should have signed him.
That's literally just dad. That's what you get.
Yeah, you see, it worked for Di Young, didn't it? Having his son on the team. Yeah, he did. See, Warren, get your lad on board, mate. Get your lad on board.
Hang on. I'm going to step up here. I'm going to just question this. Have you guys been watching the Super Rugby out of New Zealand?
You think Mike's been watching rugby?
I've watched a few bits. Occasionally, I'll catch the second half on the Saturday morning our time. And to be honest, they've not been losing by a huge amount. Although last week, weren't they massively in the lead at half time, though?
Yeah, that's going to be my point. I think out of the 6 losses, I think they've lost 5 of them by less than a try. I could be wrong by one of those, but there have been all close matches. The games of rugby actually have been very interesting to watch, and they're enjoyable.
But basically, Twitter are up in a storm. For example, someone asked the question, which team will
Of course, it must be real if Twitter says so.
Which team will Gatland coach after the Lions tour next year, and why do you think it will be the Bay of Plenty under-19s?
It'll be killing in seconds.
Gatland can take his Welsh style all the way back up his valley, I reckon. That's a personal favourite.
DM me.
I've got nothing but love for Gatland because he is a great coach. However, he's just not done very great.
He's just not had a great start so far, has he?
Exactly.
He can't be blamed for the ills of the world at the Chiefs. I think the guys on the pitch have got a lot to answer for. Yes, he comes up with a strategy, but I'm sure his strategy was not to lose a 20-something point advantage in 40 minutes and go on to lose the game. I'm sure that Eddie Jones didn't have that in mind when Scotland came down and just avoided beating us by getting a draw the other year.
But we have good news.
Go on, give us some good news then.
So 2 weeks after the Six Nations has finished, you'll be glad to know that we then get another international tournament straight after. So commencing on November the 14th, we've got an 8-team tournament. You've got the Six Nations, usual suspects. And then on top of that, we have Japan and Fiji joining the mix as well. The question is, who's the wooden spoon going to be given to, and why is it going to be Italy or Scotland?
Richard, we're coming to you now because I know you want to use your rugby insight. And out of this mini tournament, bearing in mind it's the 6 home nations that are normally in, plus Italy and
no, Japan and Fiji.
Japan
on,
and
Michael.
Fiji.
Italy have been in for nearly 20 years now. We can't forget about the Azzurri. I get upset and start going pasta.
Prego. Yes. Anyway, that's just me trying to do 3 jobs at once and forgetting where I was in the script. So Richard,
make him an offer he cannot refuse.
That's the worst sounding Italian accent I have ever heard.
Italian accent.
You sound like Robert De Niro on Helium.
I'll make him an offer.
Robert,
Oh,
we're sending this to you on your Twitter feed at the very, very least because we need some comments. I think your career is safe from Phil, but Phil, I do think you have a career somewhere else. It's just not in mainstream media. Anyway, Richard.
Or comedy.
Or comedy.
Definitely not.
Timing was good though. The timing will be good when I cut out that awkward silence that you created. So when I've edited this, you'll look like a fucking star, man. All right. So Richard, out of Scotland and Italy, who is getting the wooden spoon this year in this mini series, and we're going to hold you to this because we're all going to put a bet on based upon what you say now.
Yep.
Italy.
Right, you heard it here first. Hashtag, you know that? Hashtag, you heard it here first. We're all going to bet on Italy losing. Now, here's a serious question. Are they just getting the wooden spoon or are they losing every game?
No, just a wooden spoon.
Ooh.
Which game are they going to win?
Please say Scotland.
I think they're just going to draw. I think they're going to get a draw.
Ooh.
Against?
He's gone bold.
And we're calling upon your years of rugby knowledge here.
Scotland. Let's go Scotland.
You heard it here first. We're going to put, for Phil's benefit, a quid. Because he's not quite sure what a quid is. It's a buck to you. So Phil's going to put a buck on Scotland and Italy drawing, and then Italy getting the wooden spoon. And we're all going to put a pound on that as well. And if we lose, then you're buying the beers. And talking of beer, it's time we took a commercial break. Thanks to our good friends at Genius Craft Lager. Oh, look at that. Bellagio. You see, it's almost Italiano. Listen, so we'll be back. We'll be back with our special guest for tonight. The other special guest, because Rich is quite special too. We'll be back right after this break. Welcome back to part 2 of the 22 dropouts. With us tonight, obviously, are Chris and Phil and our other special guests who will be joining us in a moment. But first of all, after 167 appearances for Harlequins, about 25 appearances apparently as a Premiership referee, and with the best line from Wikipedia that reads, began his refereeing qualification in January 2014 and continued to play for Harlequins whilst gaining experience officiating. This was made possible by the fact that he never made the starting 15. It can only be the one and only, it's Mr. Karl Dickson. We got all musical tonight, mate, I'm afraid.
Well, we need to get the facts. We need to get the facts straight up. It's 169 appearances for Harlequins. So you've obviously wrong it wrong. Devastated.
Listen, you've got to get better fans because that's what's on your Wikipedia page. No,
it says 169 on Wiki.
167 on the Quins page.
So on Wikipedia, you do realise that anybody can write anything about anybody.
No, that's not true. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Do not disparage the wonder that is Wikipedia. Otherwise, we know nothing about our special guest.
The truth.
No, I did look around today to find a photo that perhaps nobody else has ever seen of you. And I've got to say,
Carl's face is gone, what?
Now,
I can imagine there's a few.
Now, there are, most of them are, to be fair, they're you playing or you refereeing. I'm not sure that there are you in Bulgaria.
That's a long time ago.
What's going on there?
So that was when I was at university and I was in the OTC. So that was kind of how I earned my money at uni. And obviously, when it came to summertime, you could go away for 2 weeks and they paid for you get a daily rate while you're away. And we had to go to Bulgaria and play the enemy for, I think it was the Honourable Artillery Company. So I was just thinking,
why then is my brother-in-law standing with you.
Okay, I didn't know that part of it.
Are you on your phone,
Richard?
Carl? Are you on your phone?
That's the part I did not know.
Are you on your
Are
phone?
you on your phone or on the laptop, Carl?
I'm on the laptop.
Just make sure you've got it on to gallery mode.
Yeah, I've got it on gallery view. Here we go. Yeah.
And right at the bottom.
Oh, wow. That's why you called me today.
Well, maybe. I thought, it didn't make it obvious.
Should we just let you two have a little bit of a love-in and a catch-up? Because I get the feeling that it's been a while.
We had a phone call this morning already.
Were you trying to warn him, Checkers?
No. He's just a nightmare to get hold of. So
True,
kind of give it a go. He ignores it. Voicemail tennis. Forget about it for 6 months. Start again.
Yeah, I've got a mate like that. So now, what I do want to know, Carl, is why he's called Chuckles.
Wow. I mean, he calls Chuckles because look, there you go. The way he laughs, the way he chuckles about literally about anything. Him and his brother used to call like the Chuckle Brothers, because literally they're just constantly laughing and that little grin on his face constantly. So
you didn't think this was going to be about you tonight, did you, Checker? Chuckles. Anyway,
Love it.
now.
Love it.
Now, it would be amiss of me. I know this is a very serious, because Carl, you watched all of our shows, haven't you?
Of course.
That's what I thought. So you know this is a really serious rugby show.
Professional
And
show.
we talk news, we talk reviews, we talk player stats, and then we light the fire with the bits of paper we've written all that shit on as well.
Do you get all the player and everything, all the stats right? Because so far we've not got to play.
I don't think we've ever got a single stat right. Or no, we never got a single stat right that Mike's found.
Carl, I'm going
makes
to invite you on my podcast where everything is done right.
Okay, there you go. Well, you know
Just remind me, who produces your show for you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Who does?
No, so if you have watched all of our shows, because I know you haven't, you would never ever lie to a fellow referee like that.
Of course.
Then you'll know that James isn't with us tonight, so he's the only one who ever gets any of the rumours right. And if we ask anybody from New Zealand, then Eddie Jones is joining Australia on the coach swap.
Funny that.
Anthony, I know you're watching over in NZ, and I know you're going to come back to me with a reason why it hasn't happened yet, but it will do. So we'll wait and see. Now, before the break, Richard gave us the benefit of his wisdom and his rugby knowledge.
Which won't be much.
Now, we were talking about this round robin that's going to go ahead in November between the Six Nations, Japan and Fiji. And Czech has decided that Italy are going to get the wooden spoon, but it will not be a big fat 0. They will draw against Scotland. So we're all off to William Hill or Bet365 or Coral. Whoever's going to sponsor the show, we're going to your shop straight after this show, and we're going to put a quid on each of those bets. And then if it doesn't happen, Checkers is taking us all out on a night out.
I mean, that sounds good, and I would love to join you, obviously, but under, obviously, our current guidelines, we're not allowed to place any bets on rugby.
No, absolutely.
So,
actually, neither am I, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just give me that chip for the Bellagio, Phil. I'll just use that instead.
That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. I can do that.
I'm gonna put a $5 down on the Bellagio for you.
Now, because this is a really serious rugby show, and we're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty. Rich, what's the most embarrassing thing Carl's ever done?
He won't know that.
What's the most embarrassing thing you've seen him do?
That was on his stag do.
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we should violate the most sacred of men's nights out.
And that was in Vegas as well.
Yeah.
It was in Las Vegas. Yeah, I had 7 days in LA, and then 4 days in Vegas.
It's a cheap stag do, isn't it?
It was a cheap one, but I went all out 12 days. 12 days. It was awesome.
Listen, we'll stop recording, or we'll edit this out. Just let.
What
I
goes
don't think
to
I can
Vegas stays in
divulge.
Vegas.
Yeah, can't
The
divulge
thing
any
with Carl,
information.
Carl's a bit of a closed book. So he will.
Is
He's
he?
a great liar. He won't admit he's wrong. He's obviously.
I've got a
quite
wife
person
like
in the
that.
room. Yeah. Goes with being a brother-in-law, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's Tough one, Carl.
Keep my cards close to my chest.
So, listen, what happened on this trip to Bulgaria then? Because you were both there. Because you both did sort of officer training corps, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it
we
was.
could
Yeah,
go there. It's a bit more of a paid club, really, with a lot of drinking. And we went over there to act as enemy, and we just played along. Yeah, got suntan in the process. I think that was it, right, Carl, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
got to fire AK-47s, go in helicopters, drink a lot, had a good few parties, had a few nights out in different cities. So it was definitely, and we got paid for it. So you can't really complain at that. Obviously, Chuckle's
no
in early.
plans. Chuckle's
It sounds
every
like
day, did
Vegas.
he?
Nah, Vegas, man, I don't sleep when I go there.
No weapons involved in Vegas. No helicopters.
Nah, nothing
Well,
like that.
Depends on how good your night out is.
You don't know the right guy, but now you do.
So, no thoughts for joining the army then after uni, Carl?
Oh no. My dad was in the army, and I'm not very good at people telling me what to do. So it would never have been for me. My brother was thought about joining, but I was never in a million years joining the army. They'd throw me out early before I wanted to quit. So no chance.
So how on earth did you cope then as a professional rugby player for all those years with people telling you what to do?
Because he was a scrum half.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He tells the ref what to do most of the time.
So you get told what to do, and then you kind of go, yeah, I hear you, and now I'm going to go and kind of do what I want to do anyway.
So how on earth does that translate into being part of the PGMOT where you've actually got to do what you're told?
Well, I kind of changed my attitude when I finished playing rugby, and kind of when I realised I was going to go into refereeing, I kind of thought to myself, well, I've got to change my attitude here, because a lot of these people that I'm speaking to in a very nice way on the pitch are going to be my colleagues. So I changed my attitude a little bit now, and it just kind of yep, okay, that sounds good, smile, nod, and just get on with it.
Now, lots of players that we have on this show all say there's absolutely no way I could do that job. You don't get paid enough, which they're right. The amount of decisions that you have to make, I couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. So why are you singled out amongst men as the one that does?
I think it takes you got to have thick skin to do this. You're going to get a lot of stick from not just fans and players and, now social media. So, you kind of got to have that sort of mentality. And I think probably I did have that. And then obviously being a scrum half, you're in the thick of it most of the time anyway. So, you just think, well, I pretty much more or less referee the game anyway from the position I'm in. So why not give it a go? And luckily it turned out all right.
Now, on that basis, mate, and there's a few key things that you've said there about the stick from crowd and from players and things. On that basis, would you now like to formally apologise to all those referees for those years that you were playing?
Oh no, I couldn't possibly apologise. I couldn't possibly apologise. I had to do what my job at the time, and my job at the time was to not give him stick, but just tell
them what to do, tell them where they were going wrong.
Just give him a little nudge in the right direction.
Rich, was he always like this?
Yeah, and late for everything.
And late?
Ooh.
I'm never late anymore. Never late.
When did it change? Playing or refereeing?
Playing, because we got fined if we were late, and I'm like, well, I don't want to lose any money, so.
So now that
that's what we need to do is institute a fine policy.
Yeah, that would do. That make people financial fines. It will take it away. People will be turning up.
Accountability.
Yeah,
Lombardi
it doesn't
time.
seem to work that way in refereeing, though, does it? Because you still go on tour. You go to Vegas, you go to Dubai, whatever. You still have all of these court sessions, but the court sessions never seem to involve money changing hands. It just means that you have to drink more, and I can't see anything wrong with that, to be fair.
Well, that's the difference, because at the end of the day, if you get fined a lot through that week, then your night's going to end early. So you're like, do I want a good night out, or do I want to go to bed early? So that's how you look at it.
Now, we did get straight into the deep stuff with with Richard joining us tonight. Normally, it's a much more gentle introduction. So, Carl, how have you been? How's lockdown treating you?
It's been interesting living in a flat. So obviously, it's kind of, you're limited on what you could do, but you can see from behind me, I've got a bike, pull-ups. I've been trying to keep fit. entertain
Listen,
myself.
just say no. Tony, look behind. You can see I'm doing my fitness. Okay.
Yeah,
We know that's all it's there for.
That's it. So or they think I'm doing my fitness. I've got it there for show purely. And then spending time with my kids. And luckily, the golf courses opened up pretty quick, so I managed to get on the golf course, which was very nice. I was gutted when they closed.
Well, we do know from your webinar that your day off is a round of golf. So at least that keeps you in your... How many days off have you had now then?
Well, we've been very busy. We have a lot of conference calls. There's a lot of stuff to discuss, so not many days off. I think we need a few more.
So in terms of conference calls then, talk us through what the anticipated changes are going to be from an officiating point of view when we get back into the game.
So I don't think there's really too much difference. Obviously, you've probably seen in Australia, they've trialled these new laws with the 50-22. We're not going to be doing anything like that. The only thing that's going to sort of come in is the breakdown stuff, which I don't know if you've been watching any of the Super Rugby, where it's more about protecting the jackler and people coming into the breakdown. So a lot more of a quicker reward for people showing they're lifting the ball, so people don't get people flying in trying to take them out, and also encouraging people to stay on their feet when they're coming out to clear rucks. Again, so you're protecting both players. So it's not really a massive change of law. It's just more of a change in interpretation on how we're going to referee the breakdown.
So because we know that the entire refereeing community around the world watches this show, what's the change in focus? What are you going to be looking at each stage now around the breakdown? Because I think that's something that the guys will probably take away.
So obviously when it comes to the tackle being made, you're looking for the tackler to get out there as quick as we can, like sort of east to west rather than north to south. Because obviously we want to encourage the ball to be available. But then you've got to look at the cleaners coming in and where they're coming in. I think over probably the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I think side entries at rucks have probably been borderline a lot, and we kind of sort of, okay, let's play on because the ball's there. But they're looking to sort of be a little bit tighter on where people are joining the ruck. And then obviously normally what we used to say is the jackler got over the ball and lifted it, but then got cleared out. We'd be like, listen, you didn't survive the clear, we're playing on. But now we're trying to protect that guy and say, listen, if you can show me in a good position, clear lift of the ball, we're going to reward you quicker rather than waiting for you to survive the clear out. And they're kind of probably the key points around that.
That's really interesting. And just for those people who may not know, you talked about moving east-west rather than north-south. Can you just explain that a bit more?
So obviously when the tackle happens, what we're looking at is the tackler running out to the sides rather than rolling into the 9 or rolling into potential clearers, because then they can affect the clear. And if they do affect that clear, obviously we can't look at the guy potentially taking the ball. We've got to look at the guy rolling out and affecting the people coming in. And we're more likely to penalise those people than actually the holding on penalty, which he should get if everyone moves out of the way, quite rightly.
I'm sure it'll be fine for sitting board vets against Crawley vets.
Well, that's why you just sort of like put your hands over your eyes and go, come on, let's play on.
Just sneeze, because you can't open your eyes when you sneeze, and then just penalise the next thing you see. Obviously, while you were still playing, you did your refereeing qualifications and you joined London Society as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Now, what would you describe as the toughest game you ever had in the amateur phase while you were in London?
So I know it very well. It's probably the game that I learned the most and which taught me to kind of change the way I am now. I did a Tunbridge Jadidians versus, I can't remember who it was. It was level 5, I think. And obviously at that level then you didn't have ARs. So it's come to the end of the game and there's a maul, it gets collapsed. But I can't see it because I'm not on that side, so I can't guess. And anyway, they recycle the ball, they develop another maul, it gets collapsed again. But again, I can't see if anyone's collapsed it or not. They fall short of the try line, they knock it on and I blow the whistle. And all I can say is all hell breaks loose. I've got all these Tunbridge players in my face giving me a bit of stick.
Now you know what it feels like, son.
Oh, and I just kind of went back into a player mentality and just saw red and just basically gave them a mouthful of exactly what I thought they should know and what I know, and realised as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I was mic'd up. My assessor was watching. I had to call Chris White and tell him what had happened. I had to go and apologise to them all, and I was like, what are you doing? And from that day onwards, I just kind of was like, right, I cannot act like that. Or, if I did that in a live TV game, I think I'd be sacked on the spot. So,
I think it'd be wonderful.
It would be, but I don't think I'd have been in a job very long.
Yeah, I mean, we're not all going to pay for your retirement fund, obviously, but we would.
I mean, if you did, I'd happily do it. So
yeah, of course. So. Yeah. I think we've learned that from checkers as to what you will and will not do. Not for on air, though. Not for on air.
No, definitely not.
No, definitely not.
Another wiki comment is that your refereeing debut was at the Reigate Sevens. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I went down to the Reigate Sevens.
There we go.
See, wiki is okay sometimes.
Was that your first time you picked up a whistle in a game? Or
that was the first time I'd ever picked a whistle. Could not blow the whistle. I had no idea. If I'm truly honest.
Kiwi then.
Yeah, and I didn't even know after. Like, honestly, genuinely, I was running around and things had happened. And I was like, I don't really know what goes on. Play on. No, just keep playing.
Welcome to the club.
It says you refereed the final here.
Yeah.
Love that.
Do you know what? I was just about to say something.
Did
you just say it's just sevens?
It's just sevens.
Just play on. Just play on.
Yeah, although just play on is quite a good tactic.
Yeah, it's a great tactic.
Is the ball free? Are they in possession? Have they gained an advantage by having a dickhead on the floor from the opposition? Play on.
Exactly, just play on. I got told in the Rosalind Park Sevens by a 14-year-old that I didn't know what I was doing. And this is literally last year after I've been refereeing sort of Premiership international games, didn't know what I was doing. So I had a quiet conversation with him and explained exactly how I did know what I was doing and how, unfortunately, he had no idea what he was doing. So
you didn't go with that old chestnut. Do you know who I am, Sonny?
I definitely didn't do that one. Didn't use that one.
No,
Never used that one.
No. We know a few who do.
Because you probably would go, no, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I know. There are a few coaches that have said that to me before. And they go, yeah, well, don't give a shit. Yeah. Do you know I used to play for England? Yeah, you were shit then, which is why you're not playing now.
Who was it you carded in Dubai?
Oh, no.
One of the Fodens, wasn't it?
Shut up, I can't go there. I didn't even know who he was. Somebody says you can't card him. Why? Tell me who it was. I went, well, you should know better. So have you not done any sevens refereeing apart from things like Rosalind Park and
like when I first sort of came in, they were like, well, we want you to focus on 15s. And they were like, I said, well, is there any way I can do any sevens, like potentially doing some of the world circuit? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay then, 15s it is.
You take your money, mate. That's what happens when you take
exactly.
Shooting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fair enough. No problem. I'll do that.
To me, I like the way that England's got it. Well, not at the moment. Bye, guys. Go find yourself a job before for 5 months before the Olympic money kicks in again, ready for next year. That's not great. But I do like the way that we've gone from let's stick young lads into the sevens program for a couple of years to make them have a bit of experience and then bring them back into the 15s game. I think it is, although it's got the same sort of rules, I think it's a very, very, very different game and played by very, very different players. And since England have been having guys who are just seven specialists and do not go anywhere near a 15 pitch, then I think we've done a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, before I joined Queen's, I used to play loads of sevens. Around the world, I was very fortunate to play a lot of tournaments around the world. And I think back then it was more of, you had more mainstream 15s players playing sevens, whereas now it's a very specialist sport and it's very difficult to translate the different rules and laws and everything that goes around it. But now you're seeing these, guys, 21, 20-year-olds, just purely sevens. For them to move into 15s, it's a lot more difficult.
And it is also more difficult because you only see them 8 times a year. And then once every 4 years on the Olympics. There's no pro series for clubs like there is in 15s. So it's very, very difficult for players who want to specialise in sevens to actually get anywhere because there's only internationals for them to go for.
Yeah, and I think that's unfortunately the way it is in the sport at the moment. Obviously, they're trying to make it a lot bigger and they're trying to do more tournaments, but unfortunately, that's just especially now, even more so with the financial situation, it's just going to take its toll. So it's going to take a good few years before we even move into the realms of having more tournaments again.
Well, I have a perspective on that, and I appreciate you guys having this discussion on it. I think it's got to be professionalized, and you got to have corporations stepping in or not depending on the unions to do it. That's what's going to end up happening. And the branding and the marketing has got to go into it as part of a professional series, and it's managed by a independent organization across several countries. That's just
I think that's obviously in Japan they do 15s. The corporations are the teams, but in the UK, I just don't think that would work. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't be enough. In America, there's enough teams and players and stuff that you probably do that. In the UK, I just don't believe it would take off in the manner it would in other countries.
Well, and the funny thing is that in the UK, the way I understand it, it may not work as it is in the current model. But the fact is, you only need a series in a professional 7 circuit, as an example. You can have a similar to be the HSBC, and then you can have professional match officials working that whole platform as a 6 or 8 month series, and then the people can go out and support the 15s development or whatever the case will be as in other officiating roles.
I do think that you're right in many ways, Karl. It's too niche for the UK at the moment. I think it would need to start in somewhere like Japan. I mean, you look at Singapore. If there's they have rugby 52 weekends of the year, and very often that is 15s. But that's the sort of place. Hong Kong, Singapore, the US, maybe even we say sort of Western Europe. So if you had a couple of teams from England or Ireland, Scotland, Wales that pull resources, 1 or 2 in France, 1 in Italy, although they'd just get the wooden spoon, wouldn't they, Czech? And we put their money on that. Maybe 1 from Portugal who'll still beat, or Spain, which will probably beat Italy in 7s as well. I think you could have a dozen or so teams in a regular competition that's happening every week, every couple of weeks. Almost like the EPCR in 15s could do that as well.
Go ahead, Karl. Go ahead.
I think the issue you would have with that would be the fact that you've got these guys who are playing 7s and doing tournaments here, there, and everywhere. You've got to think about you've got to pay them a yearly salary. You've got to find the facilities for them to train. You've got to potentially put them up for a week or 2 in hotels in a base, because you can say, oh, listen, we're out of Marseille, for example. Everyone's going to move to Marseille. There's your team. So the costs on top of the costs, I think it would be, especially in Europe, would just be it'd be tough. Like, it'd be very, very tough.
It'd need a huge financial input from somewhere. Now, listen, it is almost time that we took another break. So, because I know Rich has got to go after surprising Karl nicely tonight. Rich, your final thoughts about Mr. Karl Dickson, your final stories, or your final nuggets of rugby
wisdom.
I don't know, rugby wisdom that Karl and I can't bet on, but the other guys can.
None. He's a mate foremost. I'll back my mates, and
good lad.
That's some bro love. That is due to all the hugs. Hug it out, boys.
I'm only for a long time.
Zoom hug.
Well, if nothing else, I'm glad we've got you to actually get back in touch with each other today. I know what it's like with mates that you don't speak to for a couple of years, and then it's all of a sudden it's like you've never been apart, isn't it? Checkers, it's been great. Say hello to the nephew and to the sister-in-law for me. She's probably on the phone to my wife going, "What are these 2 blokes doing?" But Rich, listen, thanks for the photo. Thanks for the stories that we can't use about Karl, and we never, ever, ever will. Karl, I need some stories about Checkers.
Oh, plenty of them.
Oh, look at that. Where's the brotherly love gone now? It's that's straight out of the window.
Look, gotta go.
Listen, Yeah, time to go. In
There
fact,
we
it
go.
is time to go. So we are going to say goodbye to Richard. Carl will be back with us after the break. We've just got to go and drain the hoses and fill up the glasses again. But we'll see you right after this. Take care.
When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AXIWE AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially AXIWEs, where all three of us can be open at any time and we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
So welcome back to part 3 of the 22 dropouts this evening, where in part 2 we surprised referee and former Quins player Karl Dickson with one of his best mates from his uni days. It's great to see the brotherly loves coming back again, Karl.
Yeah, it's been a while, like I was saying, because of refereeing. Obviously, most of the time I'm working at weekends, and most of the boys and guys that I know are all working during the week. So we struggle to sort of meet up with each other and stuff like that. So it's always nice to see familiar, friendly faces.
Now, I tell you what, before we go too much further, I can see just out the corner of your frame that there's some memorabilia on the wall there, is there? Oh, look
There
at
it
that. Is that
is.
what they gave you? Mate, how small were you when you wore that?
Mate, I'm same size now. I was always small, with a small shirt.
Are you still trying to tell the PGMOT to order you a size small and just so
Always.
you look a bit buff?
Of course.
Of
course.
Listen, he's gone now. Checkers and he's gone.
Thing is, though, like, he used to be a lot bigger. He's lost a lot of weight now. He's battling a little bit.
Are you saying they're going a bit floppy on him there?
Yeah, he's
Really
not
proud of
working
his
on.
guns, man.
He needs to work a little bit harder. Maybe lockdown's taking it off him.
Being a dad has taken that away, I think.
Ah.
Now, what were we talking about before the break? We were sort of hinting at some sevens things. Now, you've played sevens before. I know you're not. You were told there's no chance of
You're
you
not
going on
allowed.
some nice jollies around the world as a referee. But you went to places like Nairobi for the Safari Sevens, didn't you?
So I was very lucky. I went to the Cayman Islands when they were in the sevens. I did the Bangkok sevens, Safari sevens, pretty much most of them in Europe. So yeah, I was very lucky to, we were playing for the Marauders and the like Dubai as well, and Samurai, and very lucky that they picked us to go around the world and play sevens in these, such great places which you probably wouldn't go normally.
Oh, that's why we love sevens. I think that's one of the reasons that we all love sevens, is you get to travel to lots of different places rather than just how can I say this without ruining somebody's day if they live there, but the arse end of nowhere.
Yeah.
Some places we go, they're not the end of the world, but it's fucking close.
Well, I remember like when I was playing. I think I was playing in one of the UK tournaments, and This is when I was at Bedford, and a guy called Howard Graham was like, "Listen, I need you to play in the Rome Sevens." And I was like, and I heard I base my sevens trips on, if you look at Amsterdam, is right. Can I have a proper good time out when I go to these trips? And I knew Rome was one day, and it was pretty tame. And I was like, I've been to Rome. I don't really want to go. And he was like, I tell you what, we're going to Kenya like 2 weeks later. Do you want to go there? And I was like, yeah, I'll go to that one. He goes, I'll tell you what, if you play Rome, you can come to Kenya. I was like, deal. I'm in. I was like, happy days, get me involved.
Mate, you're cheap, aren't you?
I was like, free trip to
Nothing
Kenya.
wrong with cheap, do you know what I mean?
Actually, to
You're
be
not complaining,
fair,
are you?
I'd do exactly the same.
Oh, safari out in, I think we stayed in Nairobi for 2 or 3 days, played the tournament, and then went out for safari for 2 or 3 days. It was one of the best trips I've ever been on.
Well, we were going to take some guys out to safari this year. It's just a shame with everything that's gone on. I mean,
Yeah.
Phil, look at what we were doing over in Vegas and stuff like that. I mean, I think we said last week, we've missed 3 tournaments in the States already, haven't we?
Yeah, we've missed Florida, we've missed Alaska, we've missed Salt Lake, and probably going to Vegas in October. It's just not good, and you can't blame anybody. It's just a factor of what's happening.
No, it is, and it is such a shame. But you know what? We're all a little bit down in the dumps about it. We all keep seeing things that say this is cancelled and that's going to be postponed. But this is just literally a speed hump in our rugby lives, and things will come back. They may not come back exactly as they were, but we don't know what that road is going to be yet. We're just happy to be on the journey, though, aren't we, boys?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's great times. I had to go for a COVID test this morning. That's a delight as well.
Do you have the
back of the throat, not the nose?
Yeah, actually.
Careful, you probably
I've got my last one.
Negative within 2 hours.
I can tell you one thing. I don't have a gag. My gag reflex is pretty bad.
Are we
there's a story we didn't hear about your stag do.
Oh,
I have a comment.
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, there you go.
Good. There you go. Yeah, the one line
bonus.
means I'm not pregnant. That was my one. I mean, we talk about news that we hear every day at the moment, and I think some of the rumours that are bandying around over the weekend that Dubai is off, South Africa as the part of the series is going to be off. I've heard rumours. Oh, look at that! I've got a rumour for a change. I've heard a rumour that Dubai could move to February. Although when I've started to stir that pot a little bit over the weekend. People are saying that probably isn't. There is an option. There is a window for it, but it probably won't happen. And then today, some of the news that I got was that it's very likely that the World Series will be just cancelled completely. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it is
delivering news. You just suck at delivering news.
I know. Mate, listen, do you want to come and sit here and you can wear the wig as the woman and you can be my co-host? I'll be the Hanky, you can be the co-host. You can be the glamorous co-host that we just go to for the weather. In fact, we keep going to you
what's going on with this cloud?
Anyway.
What's going on with this cloud, eh?
Oh, there's a cloud.
It's grown.
It's got a cloud. We got a cloud. Newsflash.
All the news that's new and approved by the sweetest smelling army in the world. The series could well be cancelled. I think we all appreciate that one of the reasons why, with the travel that it involves and everything else like that. It is going to be an Olympic year. How are they going to prepare for that? That's going to be a struggle for a lot of teams. How are they going to fit everything in? How are they going to get back into it? Because this week we've had news that England Sevens have been told to go and find a job for 5 months, according to the Daily Telegraph. Funding's run out next month. So off you go, and we'll see you in Tokyo for the Olympics. We are rugby. We are a business. Like it or not, professional sport is a business. It needs to make money. It needs to sell its product. And when you can't sell, then it's difficult to make money. I just feel for everybody, their families and everything else. We've seen some from the States with the US girls, haven't we, trying to raise money for their flights just to get out to the Olympics, Phil.
Yeah, and it's the things going on in the United States with USA Rugby and everything else. Everybody's aware, or probably are aware, The Chapter 11 was filed about 4 months ago, and it's still going through the court system. It's going to be a skeleton kind of operation coming out of it, and nobody's going to have any idea where the funding mechanisms are going to come from. I was talking to a couple of grassroots rugby programs in a couple of U.S. states this past weekend, and they're going to be laying off their administrators and that kind of thing because there's no income. And so it's going to be a pretty hard restart whenever things get going again.
Now, Karl, what's the best rumour that you've heard in recent times?
Obviously, I can't divulge too much information, but I mean, obviously, I think without being a rumour, I think the most interesting thing at the moment is obviously with the Tasmanian, sort of the New Zealand, Australia Super Rugby and the South African teams no longer being involved in that. So it's what's going to happen with the South African teams. Obviously, the rumour is that they're potentially going to join the Pro 14. But then obviously there's 2 South African teams already in the Pro 14. So then is it the 4 teams are going to come in and them 2 are going to drop out, or how is it going to work? So I think that I'm going to be very interested to see how the South African rugby now moves forward, especially internationally and domestically with what's going on.
Yeah, I was chatting to a friend in South Africa over the weekend, and they were saying that the lockdown over there is very, very severe. It's so much so that they don't even get post in many areas. It's all just getting built up and built up. Imagine having 8 months worth of credit card bills to open all of a sudden, and all of those begging letters from those children's charities or whatever it may well be, all turning up in a sack like Santa's just been. But there's no rugby. They think they might have a couple of domestic friendly games later this year, but at the moment there's nothing at all going on, and it's unlikely to as well, which does beg the question, what are they going to do? Just from a personal point of view, you look at what South Africa has been doing over many years, is travelling east and west again and past different time zones constantly. Do you feel that's better for them and better for rugby competitions, or going up and down in the funnel? Yes, I know it's a good distance to Great Britain, but where they're within an hour of our time zone.
I think, like from travelling, last year we had to go to South Africa for the Rugby Championship, and because it's in the same time zone, nothing changes for you. Yeah, you've got a long flight, but your body clock is still the same. So I think it's definitely easier to go north-south rather than east-west. Like, I mean, we did it kind of even going when we went to Japan. It's going that far sort of east. Your body clock's just all over the place. So definitely north-south is a lot easier. I mean, we struggled. We had to fly to Japan for a referee camp. We were there for 3 days. And you just...
it's a hard life, isn't it, mate?
It's just tough.
Look at that. Look at his little eyes when he says it's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But you're almost there. By the time you get there, 9-hour time difference. It's in the body, it's hard. So definitely, and I think you've seen some of the Pro 14 teams. Obviously, they travel to South Africa now, and even speaking to some of their sort of players, it's a lot easier. Even though it's a 12-hour flight, 1 hour time difference makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, we've got guys in Japan and Singapore who want to come on the show, and it's like, I'm not getting up at that time of the morning just to come on the show. Hence, we've done specials with the guys from Singapore before. Now, that's brought me on to an interesting point here. Clearly, you've had some great times away playing sevens or with quins and stuff. What's the best trip you've been on as a referee?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Being in Japan for 6 weeks was just, indescribable. It was amazing.
What were you doing there? I missed you. Must have missed you.
I was on the sideline, so you probably didn't see it.
What was going on?
Not a lot. Well, luckily the Rugby World Cup, and to be there for 6 weeks. I don't know if any of you guys have been to Japan, but it's an amazing place.
I was there for the World Cup, and then I was back 3 weeks later on a cruise.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you weren't stuck in the cruise while you were over there.
Well, that's a funny story in itself, because my wife and I, we went out of Shanghai. Our cruise was originally supposed to go to Philippines, Thailand, and Japan, and they completely changed the itinerary where we spent the entire cruise in Japan. And and that was in November. So we were exposed to the COVID crap back in November.
Before we see what other rumours people have got, and I know Chris is going to be shit as well, that's why I'm giving him extra time. Given your time through refereeing, but probably more through your playing days, and notwithstanding your own 12-day stag do in Las Vegas, of which we are not allowed to talk, cross our hearts and hope to die.
Hey, by the way, Mike, I do have access to video surveillance.
Yeah, I've seen the CCTV, mate, as well, yeah.
Some special footage.
It's a good job they didn't get caught that night. Good job it was busy for the police that night. So, Karl, what is the best practical joke or story that you've been involved with or heard about during your career?
So I wasn't personally involved in this.
Of course not. You just say it for the tape.
The diplomacy.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of like the infamous Leicester story. So I'm hoping you haven't. So I won't mention names purely because I don't want guys to get in trouble. But basically, some of the academy boys had got stuck into some of the senior boys. So some of the senior boys are like, right, we've got to get these guys back. And as you know, as a rugby player, you've got a lot of time on your hands to come up with some sort of potential things you could do. So what happened was, literally, one of the boys got about 20 lads to dress up in balaclavas, rented vans, full rented vans, and basically drove to the academy house of Leicester in full gear. So they're hiding in the driveways around the house, and obviously neighbours can all see this. So they're thinking to themselves, what is going on here? You know, lads have got baseball bats and everything like that. So eventually what they do is they storm the house, and they go into the house and basically shit all the young lads up. But at this point, all the neighbours have called the police. So the police are on the way to this house, but one of the lads walks into the kitchen ready to go at one of the young lads. And one of the young lads, I won't mention his name, Tom Youngs, basically...
Oh, mate, that's proper respect. I love that.
Love it.
One of the young lads at the point, Tom Youngs, had literally like a knife in his hand and was ready to go for it until basically all the lads went, whoa, 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 and unmasked themselves to show it was just a little bit of a practical joke.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Mate, I think you've just hit... Listen, if I got one of those little clapometers that went up and down the wall, I've got some blank wall tonight because the nails fell out when I came... Yes, yeah. When I walked past them, my picture fell off the wall. So if I got one of those clapometer things, I think...
It'd be up there.
You'd be up at the top. It'd be hovering at the top.
You through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's class.
I'm
intrigued as to what the police actually did about that.
It all got calmed. I didn't tell the story in its entirety, but just kind of gave you a snippet. But it was all good. It all went.
Imagine how good that story would have been if he told us everything that went on.
I know, but it was like, it's the fact that the lads went all out, like full gear, rented vans, went down there basically full on, like tried attacking the house.
Now, back in the day, mate, the rivalry between Wasps and Quins was something special. The nights out that the Wasps players got involved in, usually around Putney Bridge, tackling double-decker buses dressed as American footballers and things like that, were legendary. So, best night out for you at Quins was takeaway or...
No, so like again, I won't divulge into the full thing, but it's an infrastructure. We played Cavaliere Prato in Italy, and our team manager has put us up in the worst hotel. We've all gone out on a night out after the game. Bearing in mind the game finished at like 3 o'clock because it was an early kickoff, so everyone's on the beers from 3 o'clock. We've got the bus to drive us into Florence at 7 o'clock. And we've gone into this bar, and obviously Italians normally eat late and all the rest of it. So we've started at 7 o'clock. We've gone into this bar. The bar's a little bit, well, lads, kind of keep it down. By 10, 11 o'clock, the guy was just like, do what you want. We'd spent so much money in there. We were there behind Turner. He was giving us everything for free. Like, you know, just go for it. You know, by that point, literally there's 35 of us running the bar and everything. And then I'll just tell you my personal part of the story because, you know, I don't want to get other lads in trouble, which they did. So I've come back to the hotel, and about, I don't know, 5 a.m. or something. And I couldn't get into my hotel room, and I was sharing with Nick Evans, and I was like, two of the lads next door were saying to me, Danny and Jordan all like, oh, he's in there, go in, you'll be able to find him. And I was like, he's not in there, he's not in there. They're like, yeah, he's in there, just go in. And I was like, oh, okay. And I couldn't get in the door because my card wouldn't work. They're like, well, you need to get a new card. And I was like, do you know what, I ain't getting a new card. And just kicked my door straight in, kicked the door in, walked into the room. He wasn't in there, so they were pissing themselves laughing. And I've just passed out on the bed. So I passed out on the bed, I woke up in the morning, and I've looked up and gone, oh my God, what have I done now? I've had to wake up, walk out, the door is on its hinges. I've had to walk downstairs and tell Conor O'Shea exactly what I've done. Luckily, the only luckily is there's about 3 or 4 other stories around that, which kind of made mine not quite as bad. So that was probably one of the worst nights out we've had. But we've had a few.
Hey, who would be a head coach or team manager on an away trip?
Oh, wow. Especially an early kickoff.
Even for a Colts team, I wouldn't do that.
Early kickoff was just a recipe for disaster.
Best tourist you've ever been out with?
Best tourist. One of the boys who goes will just go and go. Ben Bodker, plays in France now. He will just go and go and go and go. He's got no off switch.
So there's a question. Never thought about going and playing overseas when you'd finished at Quins, or always wanted to go into that refereeing?
No, not always. I kind of, because I obviously started my refereeing probably 2.5 years, 3 years before I retired. Because I had a family, I got twin girls who are 5 now. I just didn't want to move to France, because then when I moved back, it's a case of, and what now? So I kind of just thought, I don't want to move away, and I really enjoyed the refereeing part, and it just seemed, I got offered another contract to carry on playing at Quins. At the same time, I had an offer from the RFU to join the refereeing, so it just made sense for me at that time to change over.
So how did that contract come about? Who approached whom?
So I basically obviously got into the refereeing. I had a guy called Howard Jones who was mentoring me through the early levels, and then Chris White took over. And I just it got to the stage where I was like, well, listen, I have a contract offer here. Is there an opportunity to join the RFU? And I was very lucky that there was, because if there wasn't, then I'd have carried on playing. So it just kind of came about that. It was kind of like, well, I've got this. Can you offer me something that I can come and do that? And they were like, yeah. So I was very fortunate.
Okay, so that's how you do it.
You just go, listen, I'm going to carry on playing if you don't offer me a contract.
Yeah, I never had that option. So biggest regret of your career?
Biggest regret of my career?
Besides this show.
Besides saying, yeah, Mike, I'll do that for you.
Do you know what? I never want to say look back.
What would you like to have done then that you didn't manage to do?
I think if I had the opportunity to play abroad early in my career, then I think that would have been great. Somewhere like Japan, or somewhere like far afield, not just France, just somewhere like playing the Super Rugby or playing the Japanese.
Hawaii then.
Well, yeah, in Hawaii.
Hawaii in the MLR. They're looking for referees over in the MLR.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Thing is, we can't get over there at the moment,
for a couple of years.
Couple of years. Well, that'd be all right.
I know a guy.
Yeah, he knows a guy. 2 years or 3 years out there as senior referee in the MLR. You all right with it?
I thoroughly enjoy my RFU job. Thank you.
I thought you would actually. And why wouldn't you? Given it is tough work though, isn't it?
I think people, to be fair, just think we just kind of go out the weekend and blow our whistle and spoil everyone's day. I think that's what people think we go out there, but it's actually a lot more work behind that to it. But you can tell people, but all they see you is not doing too much. You blow a whistle.
Give us a quick insight into your week then. So let's take game day as the start of your week. So let's assume that's a Saturday. How does your week go from there? What do you do?
So you'll referee Saturday. You normally get to the ground or wherever you'll tell your team to meet you. Normally an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes before the game, so you can have a brief little coffee and a chat with them, or a little bit earlier if you can have lunch with them.
Do you like some others meeting motorway service stations about 2 hours before, just so you can chat away from the ground.
Yeah, so we'll try and find a place near the ground. So, like, when you go to Northampton, they've got like the TGI Fridays and stuff all around there. So we'll try and meet up there and just have a chat and talk about what's been going on maybe the Friday night game. Referee the game Saturday, and then speak to the boss after the game to get his feedback from the game. Sunday is normally your day off, and you're probably reviewing your game, going through it. Then Monday you come in and you'll do fitness and weights in the morning, review your game, more meetings about some of the key points from the games and what you've learned. Then Tuesday morning you go as a group, we'll go through the games and the key points, maybe a couple of clips to try and so we're getting that sort of consistency and learning, more fitness, then a few more meetings, trying to tie up everything, appointments. Then the Wednesday you're previewing the next week's game, sending out emails, where to meet, what to do for the weekend after, what you want people to do. Thursday, you could probably normally, it's kind of like you'll go to the gym, sort of a weights day, and then Friday, depending on when you work it. So we actually do work most of the week, but it's kind of, it'll vary week to week depending on when you're refereeing or whatever you're doing.
So do you do community engagement programs like with local referee organizations, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so every now and again we'll do.
That's what tonight is.
Yeah. We do.
He could book this on the expenses if I was paying him.
Yeah, I know. If I was travelling, we'll do sort of presentations for the people down to level 4, for example. They'll come to the Twickenham. We'll do presentations and go through bits. But then we might go down to the societies and do talks. I mean, I've been down to London Society with a few times just to talk through and do a presentation on, for example, foul play. So we do engage with a lot of the societies as well.
To be honest, Carl, there's nothing that people at the grassroots want more than the insight, whether they're ever going to get there or not. I think it's the same as somebody who plays football or rugby in the park or at a local club. And to have that sort of engagement with a professional player that they know they're never going to get there, but it's great to see what they do, and that reflects then on how other people prepare, what skills they try and take forward, what message they take forward, and I think that really helps more than you can probably imagine.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's actually a little slightly different than that, Mike. I think that actually by having that discussion with a grassroots organization, you may be motivating people to understand what it takes to get to that level and that time and effort to get to that level. So I think there's a real positive aspect of really supporting wherever we can. There is. It's twofold though. So it's exactly what you say. So those young, ambitious, the ones that have got the opportunity to go places, that they can see what it's like. They get a feel for the lifestyle, the workload involved, and the thought processes, and they can try and build those into their thought processes so they can look for promotion. But the vast majority of people within the society over here, certainly in England, are quite happy there or thereabouts. They know they're not going to become professionals. They may be in their mid-40s, early 50s. They are supporting community rugby. But even then, it's good to know the thought processes that people like Karl go through at the breakdown, which we talked about earlier on, so that they can say, right, I want to try and do the same. I'm not going to do it as well as Karl, and I'm not going to do it as consistently as Karl, but I'm going to try and follow the same pattern. And if we can teach people to follow the same pattern that the guys at the top have, then I think that's definitely the way forward for whatever level rugby referee you are.
I agree.
Anyway, we are now almost out of time. Karl, it's been absolutely wonderful. Sorry we hoodwinked you a little bit and we brought checkers in, but hopefully you two bros will keep going. And if you're ever going on a 12-day cultural visit to Vegas again, do let me know, because I can introduce you to the man who is sitting over there. But Karl, it's been wonderful. I hope that you'll come back and join us again. If we haven't embarrassed you too much,
Wow,
There's
definitely.
always plenty to talk about, and we hope that we can do some stuff with society as well. Now, from me, from Phil, Chris, and of course Carl, we wish you all a very safe time. Don't forget to check out the Doddy Weir Foundation and the work that they are doing, that we're supporting as always. Just go to www.myname.then5doddy.co.uk. See what they're up to, see how you can support them. And don't forget to get hold of your Genius Craft Lager from flavory.com. And every can that's sold...
Flavorly, not flavory.
Flavorly. I'll put the link on anyway over the top of this. But 5 pence from every can that's sold will go towards the Doddy Weir Foundation as well. So, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad you've come to join us tonight, Carl. And we'll hopefully see you on the circuit soon, in the sunshine, in Las Vegas, in the summer, when you've got no other commitments. From me, from everybody else, you take care. Good night, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for
Good
having me.
night.
Thank you. Cheers.